Hello ladies and gentlemen, it is now 2018, 2017 is ancient history, it's behind us now, and I think things this year are already off to a pretty good start. If you haven't paid attention on Twitter, which you should, link down below, I was sick last week, so I didn't put out a video, my apologies for that. But here we are, I'm putting out a video doing something a little bit different. There's a lot of these videos out there called pickup videos where people show off stuff that they've purchased or picked up in one way or another over a certain amount of time. And for me, I'm just going to kind of cover all of my pickups of 2017, at least the most that I can remember. So I've got them kind of organized by system, so we're going to go ahead and start with that. First one, that only have one game, is for the Genesis, and that is Golden Axe, which I have shown recently in another video, so that was my Genesis purchase for the year. Next we have PS1. It's all pretty much RPGs. I love JRPGs, and I especially love PS1 era JRPGs. I never owned a lot of these back in the day, so I wanted to kind of start collecting PS1 JRPGs, and I have. And so first up, I have Parasite Eve, which I never played until recently, and I actually really enjoyed. I didn't beat it, because I got to the final boss and I was underleveled and I didn't feel like grinding, and I was like, well, I've pretty much seen what there is to see. Next is Final Fantasy VIII, which I've had this physical copy for a few months now, but I have not played it yet. But I will. Actually, this is very close to being on my list of what I'm playing very soon. Next is technically two games, but it's one set. It was actually a gift from a good friend of mine. It's Final Fantasy Anthology, which actually contains Final Fantasy V and Final Fantasy VI. And as you can see, I got the Collector's Edition GameStop cases, which are just these paper sleeves. So that's great. Next up, I have Mass Effect Andromeda, which I actually really liked. I know a lot of people really like to hate on this game, but I really enjoyed it, despite a lot of the flaws. However, I never finished it. I got really close to the end, one of the last planets in the game, and then I was just like, I'm kind of done. Valkyria Revolution. I have never really played a lot of the other Valkyria Chronicles games, so I don't really have those to compare to. But honestly, I don't have an opinion about this one because I haven't really played it. I played for maybe an hour, and then I, out of nowhere, got the next game I'll talk about. So I started to play that instead, and I never came back. I plan to soon, though. So the game that stopped me from playing that is Horizon Zero Dawn, which is one of my favorite games of the year. It took me a while to get through it. I got it in August, I beat it a week ago. But it's a great game. It's just, for some reason, didn't hold my interest for long periods of time. I would play it for a week, and then stop for a couple months, and then so on and so on. And finally, I finished it, and it's one of my favorite games of the year. So, Horizon Zero Dawn. Obviously, if you have a PS4, you probably have played it. If you haven't, what's wrong with you? Next up is a trilogy of games that sort of go hand in hand together. If you play one, you gotta play them all. Starting with the Nonary games. The Nonary games is actually two games on one disc. It's an HD remaster of the, what's it called, 999, which came out originally on the DS. It's a remaster of that, followed by a remaster of the sequel, which came out on the 3DS and the Vita, and that's called Virtue's Last Reward. So the first two games are on this. Play them in order, and then after you do, immediately go and buy this, because you will want to. My games fell. All my games are falling. It's fine. Zero Time Dilemma. The third game in the Zero Escape series. Not my favorite in the bunch, I'm not gonna lie. It's unusual. It's different from the first two in certain ways that turned me off a little bit, but it's still fantastic, and you need to play all three of them together. You have to. Come back, you stupid thing. I also do want to mention that Zero Time Dilemma was a Christmas gift that I got just recently from my same friend who got me Final Fantasy Anthology. And speaking of gifts, these next few Game Art gifts, the next two are from the same friend. First up, I'll go ahead and show you Ultra Despair Girls, which came out for the Vita a couple years ago. The PS4 version came out this year. I'm really enjoying it. It's not the best game, but if you're into the Danganronpa series, which I am, I don't know if you can see Monokuma back here, but he's my special boy. If you're into Danganronpa at all and you like the lore, you like the story, I do recommend playing this game, or at least watching a playthrough of it. And the next gift that I got from my friend was Tales of Berseria, which is my third Tales game that I've ever played. I've never finished a Tales game, and I haven't finished this one, but I think I like this one the most out of all three I've played, the other two being Symphonia and Exilia. This one is really up there as far as like production value and whatnot. The last gift I have here from the PS4 pile is Dragon's Dogma Dark Arisen. This is from my wife, and I love her very much for buying this because Dragon's Dogma is one of my favorite games of all time. I have played the PS3 version so many times, and I just don't have my PS3 plugged in anymore. I wanted to get this version, or the PC version, and she's like, bam, here it is. And so now I have a PS4 copy of one of my favorite games ever. Next up is sort of a collection of older games that I've played some of and haven't played all of, and that is Kingdom Hearts 1.5 and 2.5 Remix HD collection. There's like 6 games in one, technically 4 because 2 of them are only cutscenes. I've replayed Kingdom Hearts 2 finally for the first time in years on here, and I started to play Birth by Sleep and I like it a lot, but again I just haven't come back to it. And lastly on my PS4 pickups list, Persona 5, son. I love Persona 5. If you watched my top JRPGs video, which I'll link up here, I love Persona, and I really love Persona 5. And man, this game was super long. It was 110 hours of my life, yet it managed to hold my interest all the way through. I beat it in about a month, and holy cow, I'm actually contemplating going back for a New Game Plus on this one. Next up, same JRPG video that I just mentioned. In that video I mentioned that I got a PSP for free right here, and this is her. This is the bad boy. But yeah, for a while I had been wanting a PSP, and I was looking kind of like, oh, maybe I can, find a cheap one on eBay. And I guess my wife mentioned it to a coworker / friend of ours. Well, coworker of hers, friend of ours, and he was like, hey, here's my PSP and a bunch of games. And so I got 2 of these bad boys just full of games. I'm just gonna show a couple. But basically, the man deserves a shout out, so I'm going to show you just how generous this man was. This beautiful, beautiful man with his generosity. I have a few game cases stacked here that I've procured myself with some of the games that I was given. I'm not going to pull all these out because they're kind of annoying to pull out. But I have the Sega Genesis collection, Darkstalkers Chronicle. It says something else in there, but I can't see it. Dungeons and Dragons Tactics, Daxter, which is actually supposed to be one of the better PSP games, and I have yet to play it, but I do plan to when I am more in the mood for a platformer kind of thing. Puzzle Quest. When I first got the PSP, I popped Puzzle Quest in there and I played that quite a bit. That's a great game. I don't know how I never played it until now. Capcom Classics Collection Reloaded, and that one's pretty cool. It's got like Street Fighter and some stuff on there. And Lumines 2, which I've heard Lumines is a great series, I just haven't played it yet. And then over here I have some more standout games. This beautiful, beautiful man. Sorry if that's weird that I keep calling you that, if you're watching. So, I got Final Fantasy, Final Fantasy 2, Final Fantasy 4, Crisis Core, and I know I have it's inside the PSP. I got he also gave me Final Fantasy Tactics for the PSP, which I have in the PSP because it's the last thing I played on there. Castlevania, the Dracula X Chronicles. Disgaea, the very first one for the PSP. This is the case for Jeanne d'Arc, but it's actually Valkyrie Profile, which is a game I wanted the PS1 version of, but now I have the PSP version of, and I really liked what I played of it so far. I have such a huge backlog of JRPGs, it's not even funny. And then there's a couple games that I purchased myself after getting the PSP, one being Birth by Sleep, because I just wanted to have it in my collection. And then I felt like playing some Tony Hawk, so I got Tony Hawk 2 Underground Remix, which is pretty fun. It's Tony Hawk in your pocket. Tony Hawk Pocket. Hockey Pocket. And then next I have this little collection here of beautiful handheld goodness. So as far as the DS goes, I did finally reacquire Rhythm Heaven, which is a game that my wife had when I first started dating her, and then we sold it. But now I have it again, in the box. Then we have LBX, which is a game that... and then I have LBX for the 3DS, which is a game I forgot existed, and then I just kind of found it right at the perfect time when I was like, I want to play a game with little robots and you mix and match the parts and make little custom robots. And this game is exactly that. It's like a little JRPG where you get little toy robots and you customize them and then you fight them. Pretty simple. It's not the greatest game, but it's a lot of fun. And I only got it was $13 brand new on Amazon, bro. I'm running out of space to put the games. Then we have Final Fantasy Theatrhythm Curtain Call, which I got recently for also pretty cheap. I think it was like one of those GameStop deals where like you buy a certain amount of games and you only pay like $10. Anyway, I got this for really cheap, and I love it. But this game is a lot of fun. Just a simple little rhythm game with Final Fantasy music. I bought Animal Crossing for the 3rd time, and I got into it for about a month and a half, and then the cartridge stopped working because eBay. Fantasy Life. I got this from GameStop with some in-store credit, and I have wanted this game. I had this game before a long time ago when I had one of my many 3DSs that I've had over the past few years. And so I finally got this back. It's not that it was rare or hard to find, it's just sort of expensive. But I got this back for $30 or so from GameStop with in-store credit. And then I had to buy the case on eBay for like $3. And this is one of my favorite 3DS games ever. Dragon Quest VIII. This game is fun. I'm just having a really hard time getting into it. Which is disappointing because I was really looking forward to it. But I'm going to give it a few more tries. And then the most recent addition to my 3DS collection is Ever Oasis, which my wife gave me for Christmas. I've been playing that recently, and that's a lot of fun too. It's similar in some ways to Fantasy Life, but it's one of those kinds of games where it's just sort of, there's combat and whatever, but it's kind of casual, it's cute. I'm gonna let my camera cool down here for a little bit, because Sony cameras overheat. My dogs are barking, but I'll be right back. Okay, I'm back, and I almost forgot one of the most important additions to my 3DS collection is my 3DS. It's actually a 2DS XL, right? New 2DS XL. I actually got a 2DS last year, but I traded that and my old slim black Vita, which I have a white OLED one because it's better. But anyway, I traded those in and paid maybe about $15 just to get this bad boy. And look, there's Ever Oasis. Look at me, running around. Who needs a capture card for the 3DS? But yeah, so I picked up this bad boy because of the black and the turquoise, the beautiful colors, and I love it. Hello. And then actually sort of a small handful of pickups for the Vita. I've got Danganronpa 2, which it took me a long time to get through, but I did. Followed immediately by Danganronpa 3, which I got through in about a week, and these are great games. This is one of my favorite series ever now, and I love them. And then I got Trails of Cold Steel 2, which I've been trying to get through, and for some reason, as much as I care about the story, I'm just bored. Maybe it's just not the right time, but I just can't really bring myself to keep playing this. I've been trying recently, and I was just like, I'm gonna play something else. And then I actually have an import copy of God Eater 2 for the Vita, which I got off eBay, I think, for like $8. You know, just to have another Vita game and import, which I like having. And it's actually pretty fun. It's a little hard to play because of the Japanese, but it's fun. Speaking of games that I pretty much bought just to have in my Vita collection, is Exist Archive, which I actually picked up maybe last week. It was like $5 on Amazon, and I do plan to play it because I heard it's decent, and for $5, I mean, why not? And then there's that hurts. It hurts. See, one of the reasons I collect Vita games is because I love the little Vita cases, right? Look how cute they are. But GameStop, it's just, what is this? What is this? This is trash. This is Tukiden, or Tukaiden. It's something about a Tuki. This is Tukiden Age of Demons. I got this in that same GameStop, 4 games for $10 deal. So I was like, why not? But now I know why not, because of this case. I don't have a problem, it's okay, it's fine. Steam. I'm not even going to talk about Steam, I mean, just look at that. Between Humble Bundles and Steam sales and just codes I've gotten from developers that I should probably get around to covering their games. My Steam collection has grown quite a bit over the past year. Too much so that I'm just not even going to talk about it. And of course, what 2017 pickups video would be complete without the Switch? I love it. I love it so much. Look at it. It's so beautiful. You hold it in your hand and it's got the heat vents and the little kickstand that I can't get up with my fingernails. And the colorful Joy-Cons that come off and you can throw them at your enemies. So starting right off the bat with the Switch, actually the first game I picked up on the Switch was Lego City Undercover, because I always wanted to play it on the Wii U and I never did. And it was kind of all they had there that interested me when I bought it. And then the next Switch game that I picked up was The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild. Now you're probably wondering, why didn't I pick this up first? Well, it's because I had it on the Wii U and I beat it. So I was like, oh, okay, I don't really need it again, as much as I would like to play it on the Switch. But then I traded it in. And with like the trade-in credit bonus that I got, I think I paid like $10 for the Switch copy. So, not a bad deal. Up next, I got Splatoon 2, which I actually already covered in a little review, which you can click on in the corner there. And then, of course, Mario Odyssey. This is one of the reasons I bought the Switch when I did. It was because I wanted to play this game, and I have no regrets, because this game is phenomenal. And I love it, and I beat it in like a week, and it's really good. And then on Black Friday, this game was on sale for $20, Dragon Ball Xenoverse 2. I liked the first game enough. I always wanted to play the second one. And then I found out that the Switch version was going to be on sale for $20 on Black Friday. And then I had a coupon for $5, so I paid $15 for an almost new port, even though the game's a year old. And then the last game on the collection is Mario and Rabbids Kingdom Battle, which I got for Christmas for my wife. And it's a lot of fun. I haven't played it in a few days, but I'm really, really enjoying this too. I knew that I would. I was actually kind of scared because I'm not a huge fan of strategy games, but something told me that I would like this, and I do. It's really awesome. So yeah, if you have a Switch and you've been thinking about this, you've been on the fence about this game, go for it, because it's pretty dang solid. And of course, as much as I love the physical Switch games, it would be silly of me to forget to mention some of the digital games, like Sonic Mania, which of course is on other platforms, but I played it on the Switch, so suck it. Mighty Gunvolt Burst. That game was really fun, and in fact, I think I'm going to re-download it and give it another go, because that game's awesome. And then SteamWorld Dig 2, which I've talked about SteamWorld Dig before. Obviously, I'm going to love SteamWorld Dig 2, which maybe I did, maybe I didn't, who knows, maybe I'll make a video about it. But now, as far as what games are my favorite, what games are the best? Okay, well, the first one I'm going to mention I don't have a physical copy of, because it's on Steam, but that's Rokuin. If you don't remember Rokuin, I talked about it a few months back, I'll go ahead and link that as well. That game is just... gameplay-wise, it's not the greatest, but, I mean, as far as the characters, the art, the story, the message, just everything, oh my gosh, I love that game. It's whatever shortcomings it may have as far as gameplay is redeemed by everything else about it. Next up I have Danganronpa V3, because obviously this is probably the best Danganronpa game, maybe 2. I may prefer 2 a little bit more, but as far as mechanics and improvements and stuff, this game is solid for sure. And then I have Mario Odyssey, as if you couldn't tell from what I said about it earlier. Of course. And then Breath of the Wild, I mean, I bought it and played through it twice. So yeah, kinda liked it. And then, of course, Persona 5. I think this actually might be my favorite. For some reason, I'm looking at this and I'm looking at these and I'm just like, hello, darling. Maybe it's the shiny case. Maybe it's cheating with the shininess of the case. But, holy moly. This was a game. And I will love it for years to come. So that covers 2017 for me, and I'd love to hear from you. What are some of your favorite games of 2017? And what are some games you're looking forward to in 2018? Let me know in the comments below. I'd love to hear from you.